Hi, you're watching Saturday in the Woodworking Shop with Andrew Pitts, where we talk things woodworking. Sarah would like me to fix up this top. It looks like there was something glued here, like felt or something, but not all over the whole thing. So what she'd like me to do is go ahead and sand this all down, fill this groove with some veneer, so she ends up with a smooth surface. So I'm just going to start out with 60 grit sandpaper on my Rotex and go for it. By the way, I'm wearing these anti-vibration gloves. Really helps with this machine. So the intent of my client was to have me finish the inside of this pocket naturally, have the outside stain the same as the edges, fill this groove with a wood that would match the inside pocket. So you'd have dark, then light, then dark on this little 3/8 inch piece, and then the light. Well, that's all great, except when I sanded through this, I found out that this leaf is all mahogany, but the part that actually connects to the apron of the table has a field that is something else. You know, light wood, very tight grained wood, like a maple or something. So that presents a problem. The mahogany's got texture and color that are different than the tight grained wood. The mahogany grain is very open pored. This wood is very tight grained. So the options are to veneer this light field with a mahogany, but then I've got a problem of trying to match today's mahogany veneer to the mahogany that existed when this was made, and that could be tough. The other option is veneer both of them, but this is where repairing somebody's broken furniture and trying to restore an antique split ways. But she wants a functional table. I mean, she brought me a broken table and wanted me to fix it and make it functional, and if I could get rid of that red stuff that I sanded off and make these two fields have some contrast to the filler and the border, that's what she's after. So this is where you got to kind of make a compromise into from what you think would be the very, very best repair, but maybe not financially the most practical repair, to try to make this something that's affordable and yet functional and looks right. So what I decided I'm going to try is to first fill the pores on the mahogany in this field, and I'll do that actually using finish so that I don't discolor the pores, but I end up with a uniform tone. And then I'll try to match, using dyes, the color of this light field to the mahogany. So I'll darken that down. And with any luck, we'll have good color match and smoothness match, and maybe it won't be so noticeable that this is mahogany with open pores versus something else with closed pores. Now I've got a tiny hole here, so I'm going to use some epoxy fill sticks. Just mix it up here in your fingers. So the color is just a tad light. So I am just going to take just the smallest little bit of this dark walnut color and mix it in here. That's pretty darn close. So all I got to do is just take a little dab of this stuff, get a little poker to poke it down into the hole some. Okay, I sanded this down to 320 grit sandpaper so that I would, when I start applying some finish to fill the pores, I won't be filling my sanding marks. The first thing I want to do is carefully mask off the areas that I don't want finish on. So I'm going to use gloss lacquer, and the reason is because it dries fast. and I can get these pores filled in much faster. And lacquer would make a nice finish coat anyway, so that would work well. So I'm putting it on nice and thick so I can get down into those pores. Okay, I'm going to start staining this centerpiece. I'm going to start with a aniline dye called Natural Antique Cherry. Now this probably won't be an exact match, so what I can do is later on I can tune this up with other colors. Okay, the first coat of this dark brown didn't get quite as dark as I want it to get, so I'm going to take a little bit of black aniline dye and just put a couple drops into my little mixture of extra dark walnut. I'm just going to use the end of a brush here as a dropper. Okay, I think I've got the stain on this field about where I want it, but just to do a test, I want to try and wet this, but I don't want to dissolve the dye. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little paint thinner and wet each side and see how closely they match. And I'm hoping that that technique will approximate what this will look like. You can see they're pretty darn close. So now it's time to make those little filler pieces that go into the top around the circumference there. And so I took a piece of mahogany that I happened to have from another job, and I ripped off a couple of slices here that are a little bit thick. I'm making these strips 3/16 of an inch wide, but it's kind of dangerous cutting little strips like this. So what I found a safe method is to make myself a special pusher block. It's hard to see, but there's a little notch that I cut down here on the bottom of this block so that a strip fits right along like that. I can take the strip and set it on the table against the fence, engage the notch in the block, press the block up against the fence, and then I can run this whole thing through the saw, and there's pressure downward on the entire strip as the strip is held against the fence. The entire travel, you don't get your fingers anywhere near the blade. So that's how I'm doing it. I'll go ahead and show you. Well, the table's repair is complete. I guess the main objective was to have it sitting on 4 legs, which it is. And the secondary objective was to get the top where the 2 halves matched with some banding around there. Now the way this table works is it folds, and then there's a little knob under here you pull to rotate. And now you can have a table that's up against the wall in a hallway. So it's kind of nice, got a little drawer on it, and there you go. Last week I went down to Durham, North Carolina to the old American tobacco plant where they made Lucky Strike cigarettes for the Furniture Society Symposium. We had use of quite a bit of that facility, and it was a great place for the symposium. We had lectures, presentations from a lot of very talented people. We also had a nice exhibition of some of the juried work from some of our members, and you can see some of it right there. We also had a nice trip down to the ShopBot plant where we got a tour of the facility, some of the new machinery they have, plus a great barbecue dinner outside the building under a tent. It was really nice, good time had by all.